I'll just wait for that. And I'll check on the phone. All right, it looks like we're live now. Good morning, everybody. Just tag us, everyone. Good morning. Come on, tag. There we go. Now, multi-speaker. Hopefully, we are both showing. No, I'm just showing as me on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's showing us one at a time.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I don't know how to change this. Immersive. No. Now we're wasting time.
Right. It's all good. It's
Gallery. That should
the
change.
power of technology.
I know, I love it, right?
Uh,
Oh, no, it's still only showing me. Although, anyway, it might change because
it might, yeah.
phone's a little bit behind. But anyway, good morning, everybody. How are we all? Oh, yes, we're both on screen now. That's better.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the tech shit. um, we are here today bringing you one of my amazing clients, Francesca. She started working with me 6 months ago, just over 6 months ago, and she's had some amazing results. And I thought her story was one that you might want to hear. So she's lost about 15 kilos in 6 months, but it's more than just about the changes that she made externally, the changes she made to her food. It's more about the internal changes that she made in order to have this result that she has today. So that's what we're really going to talk about. So welcome, Francesca.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So good morning, Janice. I see you there. You've joined us. Take us back to the start. Before you and I met, what was happening? How were you feeling? What were you doing? Take us back to that point.
So before we met, I think the catalyst for it all was I went on the 9th of May. I went to Vietnam on a girls' retreat, on a women's venture, and was so excited and hadn't been overseas for a while on my own as well. I mean, I have a family, but I went as a solo traveller.
Yeah.
And then had wonderful experiences, but also had some really down experiences. And one of those down experiences was a organised outing and a ziplining morning, and it was then going to be followed by lunch. And lo and behold, very keen, all ready to go, and then was asked by the organisers of the zipline to actually step on the scales. And I was a bit taken aback, as you would be, a lot of people around. It wasn't just stated to me because there was an audience. So it's already a frightening thing when you have to step on scales in your personal space, but then in front of your fellow travellers and other people as well.
Yeah.
To then be denied, because I was over 100 kilos, to then be denied that ziplining experience really was quite traumatic, because I never really thought that there would be limitations. And you hear of people having limitations on flights, but I always carried my weight, I thought, very well. And so I could disguise a lot of that. And my personality is pretty vivacious, so I tended to mask a lot of it. And that was the big eye-opener. I went back quite distraught, back to because the other girls were able to do that, and they were very sympathetic to me, but unless you're going through that and have gone through it, no one really understands that inner grief, and throughout this conversation I'll talk about that inner grief and that inner child that we hear it a lot, but unless you really harness that and you let go of that, you're never going to succeed. And that had been my story all the way along. I'm going to be 57 on Sunday. And in my 57 years, I have learned to mask and to project a certain image of myself that I thought was enough. I thought that was enough. And really then the health side came into play as well. So chronic lower back pain, finding a lot of issues with my knees.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an ex-dancer, but the knees were really failing me. And so that quality of life really was, I had to take stock. I would mask everything with alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm a very social being, so life of the party. And I would go out and have, a beautiful glass of wine, which would then go to numerous glasses of wine. And yeah, it's that typical masking agent, if you like. I'm still very social, even throughout this journey. So that social side of me has not failed. It's not like I've had to lock myself away for 6 months. In actual fact, I've been among the people.
Yeah.
And which has also been a very, very wonderful lesson as well. So
yeah, I
yeah, that's where it all began. That's where it all began. I think that was the pardon the pun, but it was the punch in the face that I needed, was the fact of being denied access to something through my weight. Was and then just going back on photos, I realised how unhappy I actually was at that point in time as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I say it's like that kick up the bum, isn't it? It's like that thing that shocks us emotionally.
Yeah.
It rocks us in some way, and it's that pain that is enough to get us to want to go, this is enough. I've had enough of this. I can't stay here. Because we're more driven to avoid pain than we are to seek pleasure. And what I mean by that is that we will stay in unhealthy habits that bring us pleasure until we recognize the pain that they're actually causing us. And that pain has to be deep enough for us to be able to want to change those habits. We realize that those habits are not healthy for us, but we need that big wake up, often need that big wake up moment. We don't just change because, oh, I love to lose weight and feel good. No, sometimes we've got to hit that rock bottom before we are prepared to do anything about it. And I see this time and time again with people who just haven't hit that point yet. It's not enough to just desire the goal. We've got to find that reason to want to let go of all of our vices that we're holding on to. So I would love to talk about now some of the core lessons or key takeaways, ahas, that we spoke about in our last session together, because they were just really, really powerful. And because they were deeper than just the habits that you've changed. It was really about who you at your core changed, who you've become versus who you were. And the weight loss has just become that side effect. So why don't you tell us about some of those core lessons or key takeaways?
So at the very beginning, as I previously stated, I would mask everything and present to the world a completely different version of myself.
Yeah.
And it was that moment of being denied access, not being accepted. And acceptance is a huge thing for every human being. You know, we all want to be accepted for who we are. And sometimes that comes in a very unhealthy form because it's comfortable for other people.
Yeah.
And not necessarily for ourselves, but it's comfortable. You're not having to explain yourself. You just fit. And sometimes fitting in can be a really unhealthy version of yourself. So the big aha moment for me was, yes, the pain in my body, the denial of being able to do something that I was so looking forward to doing. But also the aha moment came I wasn't always plant-based.
Mm,
And see, this is the real learning curve for me. As a child, I didn't like to eat meat,
mm,
but I was pretty much forced to eat meat because that was our social setting and that was our upbringing and all of that sort of thing. But
mm,
and I denied myself of really being living in the plant-based world all my life.
mm,
And this last 6 months, really, I you know, been a vegetarian and a really animal lover, you know, and then felt that whole hypocrisy of that as well. Because how can you do that and not, you know? So
mm-hmm.
the aha moments for me were I actually had to lose that little person. And I think in some moment I said I had to have that person die actually
Yeah.
for me to evolve. And it was a huge aha moment. I mean, 3 months in and I was struggling. I was at that halfway point. I wasn't meeting the goals that I thought I had to reach by a certain time.
You also thought you weren't because that scale was broken, remember?
Exactly. And
It said you were going
oh
up.
my God. And it's a laughable thing, isn't it? Like
It
getting,
is now.
but
Yeah.
at the time I was devastated. And
Mm.
I wasn't like, I had to have enormous faith in myself to actually go into a chemist or, you know, in America they call it a drugstore and actually stand on the scales there and be weighed in front of people, you know. And then I went, oh my God. And because I'd seen the dress sizes going down
Mm.
and my energy levels really lift.
Yeah.
And then that validation coming through, like, oh my God, I'm not losing it. And I think that's when I said to you, you're not going to believe this. I've
It's like
actually I've actually been not only meeting the goals, but really, yeah, smashing
killing
it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was the
smashing.
funniest part because I know you were saying that your clothes are fitting better. You felt so much
Mm,
better. Your husband was saying, "Mom, not mom, you say your child, Kian was saying, Mom, you look so amazing," and your husband was noticing that you were changing, and
mm.
it really wasn't a surprise to me to see that that scale had gone down. It's like, yeah, well, how could it not actually when you have all this validation around you from everybody else telling you? It's just that we look at ourselves, we see ourselves in the mirror every single day, so we don't notice little subtle changes like
But
that.
I think it's us. We're so conditioned to step on those
To
scales
look, yeah, to believe that
instead of
number.
looking at all the other
Mm.
ways in which we can measure if we're losing weight. I mean, dress sizing is one huge factor.
One
Um,
of the things that I loved about you though was you said that I don't really care what the number is because I feel so much better.
yeah,
And I think your detachment from the actual number was one of the reasons why you didn't just go fuck it and leave. You know, like yeah, that's
that
one of
was
the
it.
reasons that you stayed on the journey. It's like I don't care what the number says. I just feel so much better. I
Mm,
feel like I
mm,
look better, and you know I'm not going to change.
mm.
And so it was really, I really, applaud that because, yeah, in those first 3 months before you knew the scale was broken, that was hard. That was hard for you to
It
look at.
was, it
Yeah.
was, it was. So yeah, I suppose that was the biggest thing. It was
Yeah.
the biggest thing, the scales.
Yeah.
Putting them aside because we have monitoring. I mean, you were monitoring me as well, and
Yeah.
so what's your weight? And I said, well, I'm not stepping on those damn things because they're not actually telling me what
Lying to me.
they're lying to me. I can't possibly be 3 months in and because I felt so wonderful as well.
Yeah.
And then the 3 months after that, well, that was even more pinnacle because even that 3 month, oh my God, I've lost. I don't even know at that point in time what I said to you, what I'd lost.
12 kilos or something? Or 10
Is that
kilos, I
right?
think it
10.
was.
It was 10. I'd
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
reached the goal.
Yeah.
Um, and here I was dismayed about it all, but I still had to do so much internal work.
Yeah. So tell us about some of the big internal changes that happened for you because one of the things that happens when we make big changes to who we're being is we lose people along the way.
Absolutely. And I was
And I know that that was one of the big things for you. So, yeah,
mm,
tell us
huge,
about some of
huge,
these big internal changes that happened.
huge. within your own setting. So I am in a family of meat eaters, and so and that is their choice. And I don't cook their meals for them, but I'm still present. So that was a huge thing because they're your loved ones. They're the ones who comfort you, who support
Yeah.
you. And my family have been, and I mean, like my immediate family, have been the most supportive and beautiful.
You, you were cooking for them originally, weren't
I
you?
was originally,
And
yeah,
and
yeah,
then you decided to have that conversation with them.
yes,
It's
and I
like,
found,
so
yeah.
tell us about that as well, because that's a big change too. Because this is what can hold a lot of people back too. It's like, oh, my family don't want to eat this way, so it's going to be too hard, or I'm going to have to cook two meals, or I don't want to make changes, and then I don't want to not cook them their food because they're expecting it, and there's so much confusion that goes on in people's heads that I really think it stops them making the commitment. So tell us about that transition that you had from, when you first started and how you were still cooking for them, but then that conversation that you had moving forwards with them.
So they always saw me as, oh well, mum or Franny's doing this. It was separate from their lifestyle,
Yeah.
and so this is just something that mum's on again because it had been one of those things that I had been on so many things over the years,
Yeah.
from shakes to this to this to this, and it was, and I'd always plateau, and then I just give up,
Yeah.
and they just saw that as another, okay, well, it's another time of, oh, well, we'll just let mum go through this phase.
I saw my mum doing the same thing. Oh, mum's back on Weight Watchers. She's having toast and tomatoes for dinner. Like, she's not eating the same as us, counting her points. Yeah.
But they were also very inquisitive because they were looking at my food, and it wasn't all raw veggies, and it was really beautiful food. And I think when we first met, I said I love cooking, and I'd actually stopped doing that.
Mm.
And my joy of cooking has now returned, of course. But they were also very interested in, and the same banter that you get, are you getting enough protein? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? And so there was a point that I had to actually educate them, and I had to be a bit
Mm.
of a teacher, and I had to take on that role.
Mm.
And so, yes, my immediate family, they are on board now, in more ways than one. I
Mm.
mean, my youngest, he's only 16, so he's still finding his way. But over the last even few days, my husband is now eating more plant-based food than he has ever, and
Mm.
said, I actually don't like that meat component in that particular meal. So I've gone, well, that's a win. That's another tick.
Yeah.
But I've lost a lot of friends. So the people who supported me all those years. So if they're watching this, I'm sorry, but you supported my bad behaviours.
Mm.
You supported what was comfortable for you.
Mm.
And now I'm pushing the bar a little bit for people, and they're not knowing how to accept that, and that's fine, because they're seeing a power now that I suppose wasn't there. I was a very confident person,
Mm-hmm.
and anyone that meets me or met me in the past would say, "Oh my God, she's so confident." No, that was the confidence. Now is an absolute love for myself, which I never had. I had a love for acceptance,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Your
that was
confidence before was that mask, wasn't it? That mask that you were putting
absolutely,
on. It was almost like that bravado
yeah,
mask, don't touch me,
yeah. So you're going
versus
to, if
yeah.
you're on this path, you're going to lose people around you. Be prepared for that, but also what you gain
Mm.
in friendships. So different friendships form, different associations form,
Yeah.
which are going to actually propel you to be a better version of yourself, which is now what, the world is now opening up for me as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I say that, when we talk about everything in this universe being energy and vibration, right?
Mhm.
Um, when you're vibrating at a certain level, you will attract people who are vibrating at a certain level.
Absolutely.
Right? They because you're on the same wavelength. That's where it comes from. But when you change your vibration, right, then suddenly it's a misalignment. You're not on the same wavelength anymore, and so you attract other people on the same wavelength. So yeah, it doesn't matter that you are going to shed some people. You may help some people ascend or evolve as well, just as your family are, changing as well. You haven't forced them into it. You have simply shifted who you're being and done it from a place of love and health. You're not like trying to force this change on them, and you're not judging them for the speed at which they change. You've just been a really solid leader in your family, and you said, no, I'm doing this. This is me. This is me now, and you can come with me or not, and that's your choice. And they've decided to come with you, or at least get closer. And you never know, like if your friends, if they had been different people, they might have seen what was happening for you and decided that, oh my God, I need to pay more attention to her and what she's doing. This is amazing. I want that too, or not. And you just allow people to be who they're going to be, and just trust that the right people are going to come with you, and the wrong people will fall away, and that's okay. So I love that you were really so brave about that, because I know that your friends started giving you a lot of shit.
They did, and that is probably the time that you're going to give in, especially in social gatherings. And I've spoken to you quite extensively about social gatherings, because you are on the outer. It's becoming less and less. The gap is narrowing, but you will find yourself still in situations where you're not catered for at all.
Yeah.
And I would say to anyone watching and listening today, please, please, please take your own food. Or if it's just not an option, don't be afraid, which is one of my biggest fears, don't be afraid to talk to a chef.
Yeah.
Because some are assholes.
You've experienced both experiences. Actually, why don't you tell us about this? Why don't you tell us about those two experiences? Because I know the first one really rocked you, but the second one, it made up for it. So, and to everybody out there who might be at the beginning of the journey, excuse me, you may encounter both. And and so it is very normal, but I don't want you to feel like the only option that you're going to get is the first option.
Taking your own food and all that, because especially if you're going to a wedding, or you're going to a big event, you don't want to be the person sitting in the corner. And this only happened to me the other day since we've spoken. It's hilarious now, but anyone starting out would be mortified by the whole situation.
Yeah.
So I went to a birthday, and it was at a local pub, very well known on the Gold Coast. And I'd already looked at the menu beforehand, and that's also a thing that is probably a really wise thing to do. Is if you're going to where the venue is, most restaurants and clubs will have their menus up online.
Yeah.
Have a look, peruse that, and see what vegan options they have. And then you can make a really, it doesn't have to be all about you, which a lot of people will put that across to you, that you're making it all about yourself.
Yeah.
So I looked at the menu beforehand, knew what I was going to have, was all geared up, went, yay, they have vegan cheese, can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And got to the venue, and it was no longer available. There were no vegan options whatsoever. No plant-based options apart from some steamed vegetables. And in this day and age, I thought that was just horrendous. All the salads had been all pre-dressed with dairy-based dressings, and when I asked for that to be adjusted, I was turned down flatly. And then so I went for the steamed vegetables, only to be mortified when they came out because they'd put lashings, they'd put lashings of butter on top. And so my husband, being the beautiful man that he is, went and asked for the manager, and the chef actually came out, and anyone who doesn't want to hear bad language said, I don't give a fuck. To me, well, to my husband, about, she can go to another restaurant. And my husband then said, she promptly will, let me tell you. So here I am, I'm sitting here. I've got a plate of vegetables, which I'm not going to eat, clearly. And I could have quite easily just sat there and gone, blah, blah, blah. But my body is actually telling me now that I can't stomach those things anymore. Yeah. And so I wasn't going to put myself through that grief. And people would say, oh, yeah, she wanted to make a spectacle of herself. I wasn't. Everyone around me was making the spectacle. I was actually very quiet.
Yeah.
I had a glass of wine with people, and I was celebrating the person's birthday, but they made it all about me, and I wasn't necessarily doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
you get the attention even though you're not asking for it.
Absolutely, right? And that will happen. That will happen to a lot of people, especially in that sort of a setting, because I was the only plant-based person at the table.
Yeah.
So when you're around people who are making very, very poor food choices anyway, and heavy amounts of alcohol and all that sort of thing, you are then realizing, okay, I'm on the right path. It might be hard, but I'm on the right path. Now, I went to my husband's. So on the positive note, it didn't start out as positive. I thought, here we go again. My husband said, no, you've been catered for. So this was a different setting. So my husband's boss said, no, I've catered for I've got a special vegan menu for Franny, because she's the only one, of course, again. And so, again, went to the Sofitel, so a very well-known hotel.
Yeah.
Beautiful food. Not one vegan plate to be seen. My husband then really lost his shite and said, this is ridiculous again. My wife keeps going through this when she's actually been catered for. Now, the boss came over, didn't realise that this hadn't been through. The chef actually came out. And that was in that moment, he actually spoke to me personally. And I thought he was going to be like the last chef that came out, but he wasn't. He was actually a vegan chef, which I didn't know. He was a vegan chef, put his hand on his heart and made me a 4-course vegan meal. He hadn't been given the brief. And I said, how on earth do you cook all these meals and all vegan yourself? He said, it's all in the art of giving. Yeah. And he was a Japanese beautiful man, and he made me the most amazing meal. You have to sometimes have a voice, because you don't know who is actually there, who probably wants the same as you.
Yeah. I remember another client, Annie, she was going to a similar sort of event. It was I think a conference or something, and was really worried about getting food, for this whole week at a conference. And I said, just message them, just organize it up front. And turns out the organizers, or either the organizers or the people in the kitchen themselves, were whole food plant-based as well. They're like, right, we got you, totally awesome, good to have you on board. nice to know there's more of us out there. You never know.
You just got to find them.
Yeah. It's not always going to happen, and sometimes you will get someone like the first chef, but don't let it hold you back. Like, speak up, get your food needs met. That's a really important lesson to learn.
And in that very first lesson as well with that chef, the people at the table they're no longer friends of mine, by the way.
So tell us about this. Tell us about the more about that social circle and what people were doing and how they responded to you.
Making very poor food choices anyway. And I used to be part of that scene, highly dense foods with there was no vegetable to be seen. And just copious amounts of alcohol to wash it all down with. My plate of veggies was, even with the butter, was the healthiest thing at the table, which is pretty sad when you're really looking at that. So, and even just a few days ago, I went to, a very dear friend of my husband's who's, celebrated a milestone in his life, 80 years. And he was actually his school teacher. And I had been told that I'd been catered for, and I'm so appreciative when people say, "Oh, I've catered for you." It also gets me a little bit worried.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
And it all comes around educating people, and that's what I found on Friday was such a beautiful moment, because I was actually able to educate people in plant-based living and the foods that I create. The meals that I create. It doesn't, all I got, by the way, in this gathering, so everyone had their finger foods. I got celery, carrot, tahini, hummus, and what else was there? I'm just trying to think. So they'd gone as raw as they could get it, right? And some falafel balls as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I've found. That's what people will go to. So they'll look at, oh my God, so she's not allowed to have dairy and she's not allowed to have this. So anything that's animal based, oh my God, where do we go with this?
They suddenly panic because they don't know what else there is to eat. Yeah.
They panic. They absolutely panic. But I'd already said I will bring my own. I'd made a beautiful chickpea curry.
Yeah.
And my husband said, no, just leave it. She's gone out of her way. And so anyway, it's a lesson again that you trust your instincts as well.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, if you are in a more personal setting, but even if you're not, take your own food. When people see what you've actually created, that opens that conversation. So this is all plant-based. Yeah, it is. So it opens that conversation. It also gets them looking at how healthy your food is in comparison to what they're serving.
Yeah.
And then you see that mind shift. And that's been the most, that's why it continues to motivate me, because I'm now in that teaching role.
I love it. Yeah. Really stepping into that identity, right? I love it.
Yeah.
Tell us about the stress eating, the emotional suppression part of you, because when we started working together, there was a big part of you that was turning to food every time you got stressed about something. And I remember, a few times there was this one weekend where you'd gone back and had some cheese and some, I don't know, pastries or something like that, and you'd had
I went crazy
over the weekend. Yeah,
I went crazy.
So tell us about that version of you and who you are now, how you handle things differently now.
So anyone that knows me knows that I'm quite a spiritual person as well. So I was
sorry, you just cut out then. What did you say?
I was doing a lot of meditation. So, but it always seemed to focus on the external and not the internal. And that was, so I was always doing meditations on, I want to create the best environment, and and I do that. Everyone that comes to me says, oh my God, your place is like Zen and da-da-da-da. But my internal space was pretty confused and chaotic. And with that, I couldn't deal with stress very easily. So my go-to would either be alcohol or food, and very poor food choices, because that is something that you just need something to nurture you. It's not nourishment. It's just to nurture. It's that comfort. It's that big hug that you need. And I come from a German background, very, very regimental, very mother and father loved me dearly, but that wasn't always conveyed in the most positive way. And so that internal damage was replicated all through my life. So any failure that I perceived, and I use that because it is perception, that I perceived that I failed and all of that, I would then just say, well, I said it before, fuck it, I'm just going to, no one really notices me anyway. They were all noticing me, but I wasn't. I didn't even know who I was. So it was a very eye-opening time for me, because stress like I one weekend where my marriage was starting to fail as well, which was huge. It's not now, but it was because that's self-hatred
Mm.
that permeates to everyone around you. So and that is a real takeaway. That's a real aha as
Mm.
well. When there's self-loathing, you actually the people that you love the most, they're going to cop it.
Mm.
And it's also that sort of thing where you go, well, you're not on board with me. I don't care. No one's ever been on board with me. I'm just going to do what I want. And so now, because I hate sitting in the negative for too long, and that was when you first met me, a lot of my dialogue was quite negative.
Mm.
Now it's very positive. So um, on the flip side of that now, I know that it's only a moment in time. So it's not permanent. So
Yeah.
anything that is stressful, like the news this morning, of what occurred in Sydney yesterday. And anyone who's overseas who doesn't know already, but there was a mass shooting in Bondi, and me being an empath, my heart goes out to all those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a war of religions, and unfortunately, there are people who suffer under that. Now, normally, I'd be like, "Oh my God," and I'd really feel the weight of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all about, okay, this is where change needs to occur.
This is where it needs to be about love, right? And love and
And
acceptance.
whether you take it on that level,
Mm.
stress is us not being able to cope with everyday living. That is what stress is.
Yeah.
I've gone through everything from losing every dollar in my bank account, right, to now not worrying about, we've spoken, I'm not working at the moment. First time in 40 something years that I haven't worked.
Yeah.
That is because I started working at 40. So that is a huge, even when I had my children, I'm still working.
Mm.
That's a huge sitting in reality, taking that seat in reality, and just trusting that it's all going to happen. Yes, I've got beautiful support around me, but I could have also caved to that and gone, and I went through that a lot of
You
the
were
time.
telling yourself terrible stories about what it meant. Yeah.
Terrible story.
Instead of recognizing that it's a moment in time and that you've chosen to do this for a
Absolutely.
reason and focus on you. And yeah,
Yeah.
you had to break free from what you were doing because it wasn't
And
supporting
I think there's a lot of science in food, and we've
you.
spoken about the science in food. And when you're eating those bad foods, and when I say the bad foods,
Mm.
very high in oils as well. So I was a person that cooked a lot with oils when I first
Yeah.
started on this
Yeah.
journey as well. And then, I found by listening to other people and watching a lot of stuff on YouTube and just gathering a lot of information about vegan cooking as well, that I didn't have to use. And even some of these vegan chefs will use a lot of oil. So I had to take it right back and actually go into plant-based living,
Yeah.
not just the vegan tag, because
Yeah,
that's
it's
what.
not just non-meat and dairy,
Well,
not
that's
just
what I thought
non-animals. Yeah,
it
it's
was.
about the
Yeah,
whole side of it.
it's the whole food,
Yeah.
and where you can get your oils naturally from.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And your whole, as a result of those changes that you've made, and like no, knowing what we know about how food affects the gut microbiome and how it affects our brain and our emotional states too. Like I think there's so much in that, in not just the calorie density of side of things, but how you were feeling and how your self-talk, your emotional states, your ability to be able to handle things like stress. I think, I could see such a shift happening in you the more you committed to the whole food plant-based lifestyle. It really helped you to shift your I say your vibration because it really
Mm,
has. You've
mm,
gone from somebody who yeah, I could see had a bit of a mask up, and it was
hmm.
hard to break through an exterior, and then and then there's
Agree.
negative self-talk and all that sort of stuff,
Mm,
and
mm,
then that really has changed, and I've seen this version of you soften and then glow, and it's
mm,
like you just radiate now, and I
mm.
just feel all this love coming through, this
Yeah.
big smile, and yeah, you've totally transformed from the
Mm.
inside out. And I really think that not only has that been a lot of the work that we've done in the coaching sessions together, but the food that you're
Really,
eating
really,
is
yeah.
impacting that as well. I think, from what we know about how the food that we eat, it significantly impacts our being, our vibration. I can see it in you,
Mm.
definitely.
Bringing it back to you as well, because I had, gone to so many self-help seminars and,
Yeah.
been like, I've got so many certificates and I talk about all the certificates on the wall, but they're just pieces of paper. If you're not believing anything that you've actually conquered, they're just pieces of paper. And so this was even more pertinent because I was accountable. I had to be accountable in its most basic form to you. And so that one-on-one was so important, and I really highly recommend it to anyone because it's a safe space, and you can actually blurt out all your inner pain, and it was a beautiful safe space to be able to do that, and that's where all of that shedding
Yeah.
started.
Yep,
You
yep. And
know,
I say to all my clients, just come with it all. This is the place to let it all out. We don't judge it all. Like
it is.
we just listen to it, we allow it, and then we like go and we release it. And that's all.
So 9 times out of 10, we've all been through it. You know,
Totally,
some of us
totally.
have been
Everyone's got a
through
story.
extreme amounts of trauma, like I have, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
know it now.
No.
So, and the science of food. Believe in the science of food because it is medicinal. The vibrations of food alone,
Yeah.
and our green foods are just so beautiful, and I'm living proof of that. That I had, which I still do. I've got, talking about the health side again really quickly, but I had quite yellow, which is liver, yeah, which is liver
Yeah.
issues, quite yellow eyes. And my doctor said he did a reading and my liver count was out. And he said, you need to keep a very, very close eye on that. Not giving me anything to actually take away from that, but you've got to keep a really close eye on that, whatever that looks like.
Yep, I'm watching. What do I do? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
anyone that
Mm.
knows now and looks at me, they go, "Oh my god!" Like my husband in particular said, "Your eyes are so bright," and I had like little tags around my eyes as well, which are now
Yeah.
starting to really go.
Yeah.
And that was over a lot of dairy, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
high calcium deposits around the eyes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and because the thing is, all of my stats, and this is something else. Sometimes when we're really overweight, and I was, we look for readings from our doctors, and I got the first readings that I got were, he said everything looks fantastic,
Yeah.
all your cholesterol, everything is perfect,
Yeah.
heart rate, your sugars are fantastic, everything. So you're looking at yourself and going, well, why I'm carrying all this weight, I'm feeling so ill, my joints are feeling
Yeah.
that they can't carry my body anymore.
Yeah.
But my doctor's saying that that's okay. So,
Yeah, like somehow the numbers justify the behavior.
and
It's
this is what
okay,
I
my
talk
numbers are
about.
okay, so I don't need to change.
This is what I talk about numbers. Be really mindful of numbers.
Mm.
That you're not putting so much of trust your own measures. When your body's not feeling right.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And listen to that, and then make those necessary changes. And that was the huge thing for me. But and I haven't been back to the doctor yet because it's that sort of thing that you just want to. I want to show you something, But yeah, it's also I know in myself how much I've changed. And my family, like, there's days where they just go, oh God,
Who is this woman?
who is this
Where did
woman?
mom go?
We
Yeah.
want the old, and my husband, and again, I love him dearly, but said, I've lost my drinking partner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um,
It was a shock for him, wasn't it?
it was huge, and he's now had to, there's a level of accountability for himself and his own health choices. So
Yeah. And
um,
that's why too, because you doing what you were doing before was allowing him to have those same behaviors. And
mhm.
now it feels jarring for him to do it on his own and not have, his support buddy there doing it with him, like pretty much telling him that it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's holding that mirror up to himself now,
Mm.
going, "Oh, this makes me feel uncomfortable."
I'm still fun, but you know,
You've
but
got
I'm
a
not.
genuine smile now. You've got a genuine
Yeah,
um, and yeah, it's not a fun exterior trying to mask who you really are inside. You've really embraced
yeah,
who you are, and you've also really embraced that spiritual and animal loving side of you as
yeah,
well, instead of um, just saying it's important but not
yeah.
really following it. So
So that was the other big thing for me. The other aha was the fact that I'd been in activism, whichever way you want to look at it, for both animals and environment
yeah,
in my youth. And
excuse me.
sort of that was pushed away because of choices that I essentially made in partnerships, and allowed the power of that person to infiltrate my sort of belief system. And I found that going back into this, onto this journey, I was then I allowed myself to then be in these groups again. And so now I'm walking and talking what I believe in, and it shows. And my husband's just gone, "You're so happy," in meeting with environmental groups and just having a voice, and then, you know, even just the slightest thing of donating my time, volunteering, and all of that sort of thing is in the animal sector is huge for me.
Yeah.
But I can proudly say now that I'm not actually supporting those industries anymore. The
Yeah,
dairy
beautiful.
industry, or
How does it feel to know that you are living in alignment with the things that are your values?
you talk about this spiritual connection, and the connection with the divine is something that I talk about a lot, and it becomes really true, because everything starts to realign. You're doing what you have always believed in, and your food choices or your lifestyle choices. Because I don't want it always to be around food, but my life was always around food.
Mm,
Because I've come from a European background, my life was always about outings, social events.
yeah,
And you can still, I know that there's been people out there that's going, well, I come out of a European family and they're heavily into, meat and da da da. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. That's their choice. I don't fund that.
mm,
But I think you can influence people in little ways. And when they see the health,
mm.
I'm not here to convert people,
Yeah, yeah,
but boy, you don't know how you've lived until you've gone on this journey.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the prospects now are just so huge for me. So, yeah, yeah.
And oh gosh, there was something I was going to add to that as well. Oh yes, what you were saying before about traditions. Just because we've always done something doesn't mean that we have to continue it that way as well. Like slavery was once considered
Especially
normal,
because my
right?
family have got really heavy, and this was, I think, the first meeting that we had. I said I didn't want to go on the same path as my mum,
Yeah,
and because my mum was a heavy woman,
yeah,
and then she ended up getting blood clots, and she got dementia in the end. But all of her food choices were so poor because she was always about caring for the family. She was a real nurturer, but would leave herself short, like she'd feed the family. And I mean, we had plates, the stacking up of the plate, that was another big lesson for me, eat eat to survive,
Mm.
but don't over it. You don't have to clean the plate. And we were always taught in our family, because we came from humble beginnings as well,
Mm.
from immigrant family. And so your mum's been cooking that all day, you better eat it. And, the quantities were so huge. And when I started this journey, I was still eating those huge quantities.
Mm-hmm.
That internal dialogue was still there of, you know, leaving food on plate is waste. And so don't heap it up in the first place. If there's a smaller amount and then you add to it later, that's a different thing. But if it's there, you're going to eat it. So the other important thing that I really want to share with people is, and I know this is such a tiny thing, but it's such a huge thing as well, I think, in the way of if you're a visual person.
Mm.
I went out and I bought different plates for me. Okay, so I changed that whole big dinner plate, my dinner plates were huge, those big dinner plates. But I went, and I bought beautiful electric blue plates, and I've got a few of them, and they're only from Kmart. They're cheap things, but that visual presentation and you being able to control the amount of food in that. So I use my bowls a lot. So my bowls are my creation of plate. So,
Mm.
and when that is full, and I mean, when I say full, my husband's amazed at how much I eat now.
Mm.
Like because the quantities were just phenomenal before.
Yeah.
But I use that as my little guiding tool as well. So if you're a visual person, go and buy yourself the most amazing plates and treat yourself. So when you're serving up your food on those plates, like I've got bright orange plates as well, because as you can see, I love orange.
See? Yeah.
Um, it's a visual stimuli, and when you're then putting all these beautiful, nourishing food on there, I'm telling you, the vibration gets lifted again, because you're dealing with colour.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So treat yourself, I'm now, I always say I'm walking around like a goddess now because I'm
You are.
feeding that
You
food.
certainly are. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed of that anymore. I'd hide behind big dresses, big muumuus. And now I'm actually, if anyone's seen my photos, I'm wearing these nice little,
Tricky
yeah.
outfits. Yeah. 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 Sexy mama. You sent me that photo and I said, "Oh, sexy mama," and you said that that's what Kian had said to you as
Yeah,
well.
16-year-old beautiful boy said, "Oh my God, mama, you sexy thing." So,
Yeah.
and hearing that from your child is, yeah, validation enough as well. But yeah, I already knew that when I looked in, and that's the other thing that happened, the shift that occurred. When I looked in the mirror, I liked what I saw, and it
Yeah.
took a lot of years, like to form that in the first place, that real negative talk, and then within 6 months, and I really put that down to the energy that you get from food as well,
Mm.
but the preparation, and then just, yeah, honoring what is right for you, and the weight just goes. It's just the weight is one aspect of it.
It's just, I say weight's a symptom of something else. Whether it's our habits, our thoughts, our beliefs, our identity, it's just a symptom of our conditioning. And we need to unwind that conditioning. And for you, I think it wasn't just the food, it was, the parts of you that weren't happy with who you were, the parts of you that
Mm,
you were hiding or suppressing. It was about really you learning how to nourish all of you, not just in a food sense, but in a
mm,
self-love sense. And I think that, the weight just comes as a result of us nourishing ourselves
absolutely.
properly in body, mind,
Yeah,
and soul. Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
So, what if you were to give? You just gave some advice on getting some new plates. I love that. But
Yeah.
speak to the person now who might be where you were when you started, when
Mhm.
you reached out to me, and um, if you, well, give yourself some advice again at the beginning, or give this person watching
Oh,
who is
wow.
really struggling,
Yep.
what sort of key bits of advice might you give that person?
You've got a lot of support around you. That's the first thing. But if you don't, and again, you're on this journey, and it is, a hard path. It is if you allow it to be.
Yeah.
Um, you've got amazing tools that you give to people, but then own it as well. Like, I've done a lot of research myself. You gave me the most amazing tools,
Mm.
workbooks and all of those things. But you probably noticed I didn't attend any of the group. Um,
Yep.
I
That's
think I
okay.
did one. Okay, it's not for everyone.
Mm.
It's not my lifestyle. Yes, I could have committed more to those things, but my lifestyle was, at the time, I was actually on the beaches, walking my dog, going into the water, doing some of this self-love healing sort of work. Or my son's a dancer, as you know, so taking him to all of his things as well was
Yeah,
my priority at the time.
absolutely.
I think what say to people who are just starting out, if you have a family, make it very clear to them the journey that you're on.
Hmm.
Get very clear. I set my boys down and I said, I'm not happy. Oh, but you're gorgeous anyway.
Mm.
I'm not happy. That's all they need to hear. And if you repeat it and don't back down on it, it's the most vital information that those people will ever get from you. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So then they start to panic. But I think really back yourself. You
Mm.
know, um, we have such intelligence,
Hmm.
and we just suppress it all just to keep family, friends, colleagues,
Mm.
society happy. It's
Hmm.
not a one size fits all. And that's what I said. I've always been a bigger girl,
Mm.
you know, even, my latest weight, I've lost 15 kilos. In standards, I'm still overweight, you know. So, but what it's done to my health, what it's done to how much stamina I have, don't measure yourself against other people.
Hmm. Yeah.
My size 14 is overweight to another person.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's where people lose faith. They go, oh my God, well, I've never been, I think I was in my 60 kilos, I think I was 12, you
Mm.
know. So I've always been a heavy set sort of girl, but I'm also a size 14 to 16 now, where I was an 18 to 20 when we started this journey. So it's huge,
Yeah.
huge when you look at that. And I've still got 16 kilos to go. So that is where I'm now, and we spoke about that. So
Mm.
you might hit one milestone and go, oh, I can give up now.
I feel better. Yeah, I
I
can
feel
stop.
better,
Yeah.
and that's when you can get into that false sense of security as well, where you go, well, I feel better now. I've lost the weight, because that's your measuring stick. I've lost the
Mm.
weight. So you start making those, especially coming up to Christmas. You're making those really poor choices. You're going, oh, it's going to be all right. I'll start again on Monday,
The old identity starts to pull you back into the old habits, doesn't it?
and then you'll wonder why you feel crap.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think, those sorts of things you've really, for anyone starting out, just back yourself, just believe in yourself.
Mm.
We always look for others for validation, and that's normal human behavior, but start believing in yourself. Start just in these small little steps, making I always talk about the food prep was a very important thing at the start.
Yeah.
Now it's second nature for me. I don't do whole meals in advance because I'm such a diverse person that I love, the only thing I do in advance are my overnight oats, and they're my go-to in the morning, and then I have a smoothie. So, but that satisfies me, and I still go to the beach and I have that interaction with other people and I have my coffee,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I only have one coffee. And when I first started this journey, man, I think I in the day, and this will and real coffee. I'm not talking instant coffee. I mean real hardcore stuff. I was having at least minimum 5 a day.
Yeah.
You know, 5 at least.
Yeah,
And
it
I
sets
mean,
your nervous system on edge
so
as well.
I was just like on fire all the time. People saw that to be energized. No, it was just jittery. The heart was under so much pressure as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming that full circle, and it's not over yet. You know, it's just beginning, and that's what I probably would say to that little Franny that started at the very beginning. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. I'm sitting here talking, and there's probably someone who goes, okay, well, I'm a lot bigger, or I'm only this, or don't measure yourself against others. Just know that you're on this journey. The fact that you're sitting here and watching it means that you want change. You want to enact change, and that's the absolute first step.
Doesn't matter whether you want to lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 10
Yeah,
pounds, 20 pounds. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
You know in your body how you feel, and don't yeah, like you say, compare, your journey to somebody else's.
And it may not even be weight loss. It could be something
Health. Yeah.
that is completely maybe the weight loss side of things is not what put you in. It's actually wanting to live a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what was happening previous was not serving you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You might have had a health that has, and the doctor said you've got to eat more leafy green veggies, something very simple like that, which has been said to me. And now I'm making these amazing meals, and
You are, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the Franny that started, she fought back. There were a lot of pushbacks right at the very beginning because it's scary. It's scary to let go of someone who has served you for 50 something years.
She's protected you, right? That little inner child. She was
little girl.
Yeah. But now she feels fully supported and feels fully safe and fully loved because you learned how to give yourself the love that the love and support that you always wanted from your parents but didn't get because and culturally how things are.
So I started at 101.7 kilos, and I mean those numbers alone are just like, you take that deep breath and you go, oh, poor girl, because of what she had set herself up for, and she would have been still sitting in that. All the people around her loved her. It wasn't like she wasn't loved, but for the wrong reasons. So
they're
the big. Don't be afraid to take that first step. You've got a lot of support around you if you're willing to accept it, because that's the other thing. It's about the acceptance of help, which a lot of us, especially if we're powerful women, we're really reluctant to even expose ourselves. And this was a big. I really exposed myself in a huge way, and I'm still doing it. Still doing it.
Yeah, and you realize it's actually safe to expose yourself.
Absolutely.
The real you. Yeah.
Like I said, I still want to shift 16 kilos and it's not, again, we're coming back to numbers, but it's because I feel that it's still, I'm not truly represented yet.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way that I can state that. I'm not truly represented yet.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's not like you're going to do this until you get the goal, and then you're going to change your behavior. This is how you live now, and the weight will just be a result of continued focus and continued way of living.
So with that weight shift, now my energy levels are greater, so I'm exercising more, and I'm doing things that are, I'm not doing heavy cardio and all of that sort of stuff. I'm actually doing things that make me laugh, that make me happy.
Beautiful.
I'm dancing a lot more. I'm riding my bike and not the e-bikes. I'm actually using pedal power. We've got beautiful tracks around here near the beach, and so that's what I do, and that gives me inner joy, and that's where the weight is now going on. I'm seeing the muscle definition. I'm doing, a bit of resistance work as well.
Yeah.
A bit of weight training, which is so good for our the muscle So now
for our body.
defining all that.
Yeah. It's once you start seeing the results, it gives you that momentum. Like you get that dopamine from
Yeah,
seeing the results, seeing the validation, and that's when you motivate. That's where the motivation kicks in. It's
yeah,
from the how you feel and how you feel about your results. If you feel good about the results that you're getting dopamine, which motivates you to keep taking action. So you're on a roll, Franny. You're on a
thank
roll, and
you.
I'm
Thank
super, super
you.
excited to, see how far this takes you. Please stay in my inbox and
Oh,
keep
absolutely.
keep
Absolutely.
updating me because Lisa does this all the time too.
Yeah.
She'll send me photos of the scales and where they're at now, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
ah,
Yeah,
she's
my
so
little chubby toes on those scales. I even, I just went, why is it? It's because, look, I'm in a very, very tropical state and the heat tends to affect me as well.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm postmenopausal, so, we're in that stage now where, I look at edema as well
yeah.
in the body. And so, yeah, then I go, okay, I was carrying a bit of water there. What's happening
Mm,
there? So I look at my
mm,
salt and all that sort of thing as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
keep me updated with everything
Oh, I
happening.
definitely will. Don't
And
worry about it.
yeah,
Yeah, all those milestones. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
so excited. Well, thank you for sharing your story today.
thank you.
And Janice has just put hey Janice, just put a comment here. I lost 16 kilos, but have since put it all on again. I had some surgery and then my mental health took its tumble.
Yeah.
A lot of medications and my eating healthily took a big hit. Um, Sorry, I just lost that. Still
Hmm.
vegan, but vegan junk food for comfort eating. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your story. I really need to get back on track. Yeah, beautiful.
And
And
that's
Janice,
the important thing as well, because there's a lot of vegan food out there that isn't healthy. So,
or it might be healthy, but it's really calorie dense. Like
oh, really healthy days.
the processed things they're saying are not so unhealthy. Let's not think about it from a health perspective necessarily,
No.
but like, are they calorie dense as well? Like
Yeah.
bone meats and stuff. They may be healthier than eating meat, but um, you know, turning to those foods really does pack on the calories, so easily packs on the weight. So, Janice, if anything you want to take away from this, really don't just do it for the weight loss. Do it because it's who you are, because that's who you're choosing to be. You're choosing to be your healthiest self, and
Hmm.
that's part of your identity. It's not just doing it for the result. When we do it that way, it's hard because we're trying to do something that is out of alignment with our identity. We want to align our identity with the result that we want, and then that way the actions to get there become effortless. So Margaret says, loved your story as well. Thanks for watching, Margaret.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, thank
Beautiful.
you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, keep posting in the client group or
I
even,
will.
even this public group and let people
Yeah,
know where you're at. Like keep everyone
absolutely.
updated and yeah, let us cheer you along.
Absolutely.
Rest of your
I'll
journey.
check through my Europe picks next year because that's my next big milestone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, that'll be so much fun. I'm so
So,
jealous.
yeah, 5 weeks over in Europe. So you'll see
Yeah.
me in front of the tower and everything. So
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for speaking to us. And
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
later. Bye.
Bye.